Welcome to Module 2. In this video, you will learn how to plan a flipped lesson for VET and how to create a SCORM learning module. Planning a flipped lesson for VET. Within the VET sector, flipped learning can enable learners to get to grips with the theory online, and use valuable face-to-face time for practical applications and give the trainer more time for personalized feedback. The flipped classroom can be characterized during the different stages, before, during and after class as well as intermittently. When planning and organizing the content, the first step is to brainstorm ideas about the single lesson to be flipped. After that, develop the flipped lesson with key focus on the online activities and the assessments. The next step is to develop the in-class activities, and then record the lesson. Think about what can be improved and add more materials you can think of. Finally, create a website where students can watch all flipped lessons. A common way to deliver content to students before class is through video lectures. In VET, the videos should include theoretical concepts, relevant illustrations of industry equipment, real working devices, techniques, and procedures. The after-class activities should be focused on the continuation of the learning experience. Use the time in class to create deeper understanding and reflection and to put the theoretical knowledge into practice. A sample organization could be to dedicate the first 10 minutes of the class to get students in the right frame of mind, while the remaining class time can be spent engaging in active learning strategies. Summative assessments are used to determine if students have achieved the learning objectives. On the other hand, formative assessments occur during the learning process rather than assessing the end result and can change student behavior based on the feedback. Benefits of flipped lessons. Definitely, the main gain of flipped classroom is that the students' and instructors' time is used more efficiently. Another advantage is that students can re-watch the material online. Flipped learning enables more constructive formative feedback and the development of equality and diversity. Creating a learning object through SCORM. After you have made plans on how to design the flipped lesson, the next logical step is to create the flipped content by using SCORM packages. According to Wikipedia, SCORM is a collection of standards and specifications for e-learning, which defines communications between client-side content and a learning management system. SCORM also defines how content may be packaged into a transferable zip file. There are several SCORM versions, starting from 1.1, with SCORM 2004 being the most current. Preferably use SCORM 2004 4th edition when creating new content. When you need to create some learning content, you would typically work in an authoring tool to design and produce the content. After that, you can export the content to a SCORM package, so it can then be integrated into your SCORM-compliant LMS. There are numerous SCORM-compliant authoring tools available, including paid and free tools. When designing the flipped lesson, you must first decide on the structure and presentation of the module, whether the learner must pass a certain module before progressing, if they can review already completed materials, and if the modules will include embedded assessments or the assessment will be a separate module. As soon as you create a chapter structure, you can apply the SCOs within a chapter. A SCO equals an objective. For each SCO you need to specify the corresponding learning objective and questions by which that objective is verified. Tips about flipped lessons. Limit the content covered in one video to no more than 6 to 10 minutes. Begin each lesson by linking its contents with what students already know. Simplify the presentation, include relevant illustrations and prepare a detailed script. For the in-class activities, make sure that the students can move easily between the different interactions. Tips when using SCORM. Use SCORM 2004 4th edition. If you cannot afford paid SCORM authoring tools, choose a SCORM-compliant LMS. Define a clear objective for each SCO. Find already created SCORM modules on the topic you will teach before you start. Use knowledge check questions during the learning module so you can keep the learner's attention. Traps in creating a flipped lesson. Remember that not everything can be flipped and not everyone has equal access to technology. Bear in mind the amount of screen time and the type of assessments as well as the time for preparing the content. Last but not least, Not all students are motivated to watch lessons outside of class. In this video, you learned how to plan a flipped lesson for VET and how to create a SCORM learning object.